Omega Speedmaster is one of the best watches ever made, and Dark Side of the Moon Apollo 8 version is one of the best Speedmasters ever made. Now in 2024 there is a new addition to this line. In today's video we will do a review of this new version and also a side-by-side comparison to the old version. I will point out all the differences between old and new, and by the end of the video hopefully give you a pretty good idea what this watch is all about. Now, as always, let's talk about the case. The watch comes in a black ceramic case measuring 44.2 millimeters in diameter, 13 millimeters in height, 50 millimeter lug-to-lug distance, and it has a lug opening of 21 millimeters. The dimensions between the two versions are essentially the same. The only difference is that the new version is slightly thinner. The old version is 13.8 millimeters in case height. Ceramic is a notoriously difficult material to finish to a high standard. The Dark Side of the Moon features dual finish. It has a satin finish on the side and a high polish finish on the top of the case. If we look at the profile of both watches, we can see slight differences in terms of the overall case shape. But to be honest with you, if I didn't have both watches right there in front of me, it would be almost impossible for me to tell the difference between the two cases. As you can see, the thickness of the watch doesn't really show, and in my opinion, it doesn't really translate well in person either. Yes, the watch is slightly thinner, but the difference is not as big as I was hoping for it to be. There is a ceramic bezel insert on the front of the case. The difference between the two is the fact that the tachymeter word is highlighted in yellow on the old version. Now it's all white font on the new version. The pushers and the crown are still made out of ceramic, and the crown is still signed with Omega logo, and this logo is actually loomed, which is a cool touch. Both watches feature a sapphire display caseback showcasing the movement. It is a screw down caseback, but the watch still comes with only 50 meters of water resistance. The dial is semi-skeletonized. The new version has a slightly sharper dial. In person, it does look like it's an HD version of an old dial. It's made out of aluminum and laser ablated to look like moon texture. Apparently the front of the watch, the dial, looks like the light side of the moon, and the back of the watch where the movement is, there are some plates that are supposed to look like the dark side of the moon, which I think is a very clever thing. There are yellow accents on the dial for the little pips for every hour mark, as well as the set of hands and the chronograph hand are all done in yellow. There's the Speedmaster highlighted in yellow font, which I think plays really well. Overall, this is a very good looking watch. Now, of course, the big difference between the two versions is that sub-seconds at the 9 o'clock position, the running seconds for the movement. On the old version, it's just a white hand. On the new version, it's a miniature Saturn V rocket, which to a lot of people will be very cheesy, but I happen to really like it. I think it looks really cool, and to be honest, in person, it doesn't really stand out that much. It's just one of these things that you can tell your friends, well, look closer. No, look closer. And then when they do, you can have a big smile on your face. Hey, that's a Saturn V rocket. Kind of an interesting little tidbit. Even though at the first glance both straps look the same, they're actually completely different. The new version of the watch comes on a rubber strap. The old version came on a leather strap with a rubber insert. Both straps feature yellow stitching and these perforated holes with yellow accents on the inside. It looks very sharp, and once again the design of this watch is very, very cool. Now, the old version of the strap came with a tank buckle, and the cool thing about this buckle was the fact that it's made out of ceramic. I actually haven't seen another one like this. The new version comes with a deploying clasp. It is a more modern solution, and of course it hides away the access watch strap, and it is made out of titanium that I believe is DLC coated, so it's not made out of ceramic like the old version. The new strap looks excellent, it feels excellent, it's very soft to the touch, and I'm gonna talk about the comfort on the wrist in a minute here or so, but it is also very comfortable. I have no complaints about this switch. I actually think it probably looks a little bit better on the new strap versus the old strap. And also another slight difference is the fact that the yellow stitching is carried on the underside of the strap as well as on the top, versus the old version only had yellow stitching on the top of the strap and not on the underside. On the wrist, the watch wears surprisingly well. Yes, 44mm diameter is not easy to pull off. I have about a 7.5 inches wrist, and on my wrist it looks fine. It's not overly long, only 50mm lug-to-lug distance. Even if you have a medium-sized wrist, I think you should be fine wearing a watch like this. Not that the watch is also a bit thinner, about 13mm in height. It should slide under the cuff of pretty much every shirt. And of course, the case being made out of ceramic, it's feather light. You almost don't feel it on your wrist. Once you wear in the strap and it conforms to your wrist size, it's like you're not wearing anything. The old version is also super comfortable. It has almost the same case dimensions. It is slightly thicker, although on the wrist, I can't really tell the difference. The movement is where a lot of the updating has gone on. So the old version is powered by the Caliber 1869 in-house hand-wound movement. It had 19 joules, beat rate of 21,600 vibrations per hour, and a power reserve of 48 hours. This one is powered by the Caliber 3869 in-house movement, which is essentially the same thing as the Caliber 3861 in the new Moonwatch, just with a little bit more decoration and maybe more transparent look for that skeleton-like design. It is a master chronometer certified movement with a coaxial escapement, a silicone hairspring, which makes this watch essentially amagnetic. It still beats at the same 21,600 vibrations per hour. The power reserve was bumped up to about 50 hours, and in general, this is a much better movement. But it's not like the old watch had a terrible movement. This new movement is just a step in the right direction. It's sort of a natural evolution as the technology and the engineering moves forward. Overall, I'm a big fan of this new model with a big but. And this but is the new pricing. The old version was about $9,000 retail price. This new version is $14,300. The price was raised more than 50% on this model. And yes, it features the new movement, and yes, it has slight improvements such as that Saturn V rocket for the seconds hand, but come on, $5,000 more for this new version, I think is way too steep. What I think happened, Omega realized that they have this huge hit on their hands and they actually priced it too low to begin with. So now they're trying to remedy that by releasing this new slightly updated version and really hiking up the price. If I were in the market for one of these watches, what I would do, I'd try to source one of the older versions, the discontinued version, and buy that. It's a much better value for money, and I'm sure if you called some dealers around, they probably have one or two in their stock before they're sold out. And that's it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this new Apollo 8 Dark Side of the Moon. I always enjoy reading your comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.